Hey everyone, and welcome back to Suited Aces Poker, where every week we sort through hundreds of online poker vlogging hands and bring you 10 of the best. For this video, something a little special. We've rounded up not just 10 of the best for the week, but 10 of the best for the month, the whole month of January 2022. And this video's got it all. We've got quads, we've got royal flushes, and we've got the kind of personalities you only find at a poker table. So, let's make a start. At number 10, and Harry B is playing in the 5-10 game at the Seminole in Coconut Creek, Florida. And these are the hands you wait all night for, or multiple nights, or in my case all year, and still never hit them.
Within the first orbit, we already have a premium. Pocket kings, and there's action beforehand. We're in the hijack, and there's a low jack raised to $40. 40 is not enough with pocket kings. We're definitely going to be putting in another raise. We decide on a sizing of $150. Action folds back around to the low jack player, and he is the only customer. So we're going heads up to a flop in position, which comes down queen, queen, 3, so relatively safe. Once again, not worried about too much on this board. We double block king, queen, so the only hand that I'm truthfully that worried about is ace, queen. We also have the king of clubs on our hand, so I'm not too worried about the front door flush. When he checks over to me, definitely want to put in a bet. I throw out $110 and he decides to make the call. We're off to see a turn which is an absolute brick. It's a 4 of spades. He checks over me once again, and I'm still pretty confident in my hand. We can still target hands such as like 8s through jacks that I think would definitely be calling another bet. And also, if I had any bluffs in this spot, such as like ace, king of clubs, I'll be betting on this card regardless. So definitely want to be doing it with my strong hands as well. I decide to throw out a bet of $300, and once again, he's not deterred. He decides to make the call. To be completely honest with you, when he just calls on this card, I actually feel better about my hand. If he had a queen, I'd imagine he'd want to raise for value and then also deny any equity from any flush draw. The river is a 8 of diamonds, which now a hand that we lose to is pocket 8s, but I'm not too worried about that. If he has 8s, so be it. He checks it over me once again, and now it's a question of what I want to be doing. He started the hand with around $1,500, so he has around $900 to $800 left in a stack. With less than a pot size bet, if I had any busted club draws here, I definitely would be putting him to the test, so I see no reason why I shouldn't be doing that when I have a strong hand such as the one I have now. A hand such as 9s through jacks should still feel good about their hand on the river, considering that this one card doesn't really change too much. With that being said, I throw out a bet of $750, basically almost putting him all in, and obviously kind of hoping for a call, targeting the hands mentioned, but unfortunately for us, he says 2 words that make us throw up in our mouth. He says all in, meaning that he's playing for all of his $900. So now it's $150 more to me to make this call, knowing that we are literally never good here, hardly ever, but we are just getting an insane, just literally the most insane price I've ever been laid ever in a hand. So disgustingly, I make the call and he shows us flopped quads. So it's very rare to flop quads, and it is especially rare to get absolutely max value like he did. Maybe I'm being results oriented, but I think betting a third on the river and folding to a raise might be a better line, but luckily for him, I bet larger and had a call off of jam, but yeah.
At number 9, and Mariano is at the Hustler playing in the 10-20 game. And so often, it's not about what's going on in your hand, it's about what's going on in your opponent's head. And this might just be a masterclass.
I buy in for $10,000 and find the first interesting spot of the day with pocket 10s in the straddle. There's a few limpers before Israeli Ron makes it 240 out of the small blind. The big blind calls the 240, and then it's on me. This is already an iffy spot because every time I've played with Ron, he's been very tight and never really gotten out of line, so I decide to just flat call instead of re-raise. Only one of the limpers makes the call, so we go 4 ways to a flop. We managed to hit an overpair on 9-8-3, but after Ron continues betting, it's not looking too good for me. In my mind, the odds of him raising pre-flop and then continuing to fire into 3 opponents with a hand worse than 10s seems rather unlikely. But still, I can't fold just yet, so I make the call, and so does Barry behind me. The turn brings in the flush and some straights, so it's no surprise that Ron now checks it. It's very possible that Barry has some of those hands, so I check as well, but he ends up checking it back, so we're off to a river. The deuce of clubs shouldn't change anything, and this is where the hand really starts to pick up. Ron decides to now bet $1,500, which to me confirms my suspicion that I'm up against a bigger overpair. Obviously, I'm dead wrong, as you guys can see by the graphics, but how the hell am I supposed to know this guy had 5 deuce offsuit? Anyway, at this point, I decide the best course of action is to turn my hand into a bluff and try to make life difficult for Ron with a hand like aces, kings, or queens. I mean, I could have some 2-pair, sets, even straights that sometimes play this way. And yeah, Barry is still left to act behind, but I wasn't too worried about him after he checked back on the turn. Let's see what happens.
All in.
All in.
Oh boy. Mariano moves all in. That lets Barry get out of the way pretty easily. Yeah, okay. You can't fold here, Ron.
You went for your phone. Yeah.
Huh?
What do you have, 6-7? That's what I think you have. Oh! I would have run good the last week. I would have snapped for it.
No, I thought that he was asking what time.
What Ron's saying here is real. He's talking about how the last week he's been running bad, and if not for that, he would have snap called. And sometimes when you're running bad, it just feels like the other guy always has it, and I think he's in his own head here, overthinking it, and he folds. Wow.
I hope he didn't bluff me.
After a few painful minutes, Ron announces a fold. Of course, I had no idea until after the stream that he somehow had 2-pair, which is pretty funny. But either way, happy to take it down.
And number 8, Ashley Sleeth, is at the Aria in Vegas playing the 2-5 games. And what do we think? Does her opponent have an ace?
So as I'm getting ready to leave, Hijack limps in for $5. I make it 25 on the button with pocket queens. Get a nice premium to end the night. Big blind 3-bets though. He's been playing very snug for the past 4 hours. He 3-bets to 100 from the big blind. So it was a little bit scary, but I have queens. I'm not going anywhere. The limper folds. I make the call. The flop comes down 5-4 deuce with 2 hearts. He continues for 115, and I have a pretty easy call. The turn is an offsuit 7. Again, he bets $210, so now his range is really narrowed to like overpairs, ace X of hearts, maybe a wheel ace if you 3-bet that pre, I'm not sure. Obviously pocket aces, pocket kings. I beat most of that, so I make the call. The river is an offsuit ace. Really interesting card here. I think that a lot of people would be scared of it, but when you really look at it, it's like how many ace X does he have? He does have like the flush draw ace X, he has pocket aces, and then he has, you know, some limited amount of ace queen, and he has ace king. But he doesn't always double barrel ace king, and he doesn't always double barrel ace queen, and I have 2 queens. So I don't know. I really feel like maybe the ace is just like a card that he looked at and was like, I'm gonna just bluff this card. But he only bet $315. And I don't know. I feel like if he was trying to get me off a hand like queens, jacks, 10, something like that, he would probably go a little bigger. So I went back and forth for a really long time, went well into the tank, landed on a fold, and he called out my hand. He asked me if I had pocket queens, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good when your opponent calls out your actual hand. But, you know, he also knew I was vlogging, and he didn't show the vlog a bluff, and he knew I was leaving. So I feel like, I don't know, if he had a bluff, he'd probably show. Or at least that's what I'm going to tell myself to sleep better tonight. Always sad to take a hit right before you're about to leave, but that concludes the meetup game.
At number 7, Brantzen is at the Rounders Club in San Antonio, Texas, playing in the 1-2 game. And is it just me? Does everyone really have a favorite hand? Why don't I have a favorite hand? I mean, I like aces.
Okay, so this next one I have Jack King off in the low jack. There's another $10 button straddle, so I open to 35. It folds to the blinds, who both say they're only playing because they have their favorite hands.
It's my favorite hand.
Everyone's justifying play. What's up, guys? When they show the garbage, at least it's their favorite hand.
The small blind, big blind, button, and I see a flop that comes queen 10-6 rainbow. I have an open-ended straight draw, so when the blinds check to me, I bet $90. The button folds, the small blind calls, and the big blind calls. The turn is the 6 of hearts, and they check to me. When they call my bet on the flop, either one of them could have a 6 or a queen, so I decide to check back and realize my equity. The river comes the 9 of hearts, giving me the straight, but also completing the backdoor flush. Here's where the hand gets interesting. The small blind bets $50, which is less than an eighth of the pot, a non-bet. Yeah, he threw chips in, but they might as well have been Pringles. It looks to me like he's trying to block bet with a pair or a 6 at very best. And now the big blind raises to $200. This is still less than half of the pot, and I think the only full house I see him having is 6-9. Maybe that's his favorite hand. Since he called $90 on the flop, the only flushes I see him having are Queen X of hearts, and really only bad ones since he made such a fuss about only playing this hand because it's his favorite. He could also have 7-8 of hearts or Jack 8 of hearts. I think he could have a straight, and I think he pretty much has every 6 here. I only have $324 left in my stack, so if I shove, I don't think the big blind will fold any 6 or lower straight for that price. I shove, then the small blind calls, and then the big blind calls. The small blind shows 4-6 of diamonds, and the big blind shows 3-5 of hearts. He called $90 on the flop with 3-5 of hearts. I'm shocked. I don't know. It's his favorite hand, guys.
And number 6, we are sticking with Brantzen. This time, he's at the Hustler playing in the 2-3 game. And this is a fun one. We get to see both his perspective of the hand and his opponent's.
Okay, here's what you guys have been waiting for, a little vlogger on vlogger action. I have pocket 9s in the small blind and the button opens to $17. I debated between 3-betting and calling, and since I had been throwing in a lot of 3-bets, I just called this time. It's on to Lex, who picks up
pocket aces in the big blind. The button opens up to $17. The small blind makes the call. I put in a 3-bet to $55. The button folds. Now the action is on the small blind. A little background information on this guy. His name is Brantzen. We ended up meeting up at the Commerce and played a 5-10 session together. I didn't play many hands with him while I was there, but what I gathered from watching is that he's pretty solid and he knows what he's doing. So whenever he calls a 3-bet out of position, I put him on a lot of pocket pairs, maybe 5s through pocket 10s.
Lex is right on, as I have pocket 9s, I call, and we see a flop that comes king 9-6 rainbow, bang, I hit a set, and I check to Lex. Lex puts out a small bet of $30, and I think of what to do. Against most players, raising with middle set seems pretty standard, but I know he knows what he's doing. I also know that he knows I know what I'm doing. As the pre-flop 3-better, this flop should heavily favor him, as he can have aces, kings, and ace-king, while I really can't. Also, there's no flush draw, so if I raise, I think he'll often suspect I have a set. Because of this, I just call.
I'm not sure what it was, but I kind of got a bad feeling. I had a feeling that he had a monster. I'm not sure if it was the way he called on the flop or the speed he called.
I don't know, seems like pretty normal behavior to me, Lex.
But I just had a bad feeling. So when the turn is a deuce and he checks it over to me, I decide to actually check this turn card back.
The river comes another king, now we have a full house, but when he checked back the turn, I don't really expect him to have aces, kings, or ace-king very often. If I bet, he'll very likely fold, but if I check, my hand is pretty disguised and it gives him rope to try and bluff. I check, and Lex puts out a bet of $110. Now it's time to put in a raise, and I make it $310 total. If he has a king, he'll most likely call, but even hands like aces, queens, or jacks might want to try and bluff catch. Most people won't check the flop, turn, and river with a really strong hand, plus he might think I want to bluff him for his vlog. He ends up making the call, I show, he mucks, and I take down a large pot against Lex O Poker.
Do not subscribe to this guy's channel.
Subscribe to this guy's channel. And number 5, Brad Owen is playing in the 5-10 game at the Bellagio in Vegas. And haven't we just all met the guy he's playing in this hand?
After adding on and winning a small bomb pot, I'm dealt 8 deuce offsuit in the big blind. The cutoff limps in, he's the same dude who folded pocket queens pre-flop. I check, the flop comes queen 8 deuce with 2 diamonds, we've got bottom 2 pair. I check, the cutoff checks back. The turn is the 8 of diamonds, giving us a boat with 2 cards that I would have been happy to have folded pre-flop. I don't want this to check through again, so I bet 30. This is when things get interesting. The cutoff min raises to 60. I'm wondering if I should go for the re-raise now, or if I should let this dude hang himself. He's actually amassed a huge stack somehow, but he's had several drinks, and he's talking some trash.
Get beat the fucking YouTube, man. What is it? 5-1 or something?
5-0, yeah.
What's up now, man?
I flat in order to go for the check raise on the river. The dealer puts out the 7 of spades. I check to the cutoff. I'm sort of concerned that this might get checked back. It doesn't. The guy is like Joe Montana coming through in the clutch with a bet of 100. He's not going to be too thrilled when I make my move. I raise to 400. The opponent's a bit of a serial tanker. At least he makes it fun by allowing us access to what's going on in his head. For a dude who had all the right reads, he gets a well-earned F for his play. Usually you don't want to raise someone that you believe to be strong, and you definitely don't want to fire again on the river once you get called. It's not his fault though that he's in this situation. It's obviously the dealer's fault. The player earlier got a count on my chips. I have 1180 behind. I'm starting to think that this tank job might be an elaborate act, and then he's going to jam on me with queens full or something. I soon find out that's not the case when the opponent decides to turn over the jack of diamonds as if he's got the flush in order to get a reaction out of me. To be honest, I'm more worried about a real-life Sharknado happening than I am about this guy's fake flush that he's wasting everyone's time with. If he had a flush, why not just flip over both cards? Instead, he keeps going on with the theatrics. Dude, I bluffed you earlier with 9-8 as a tribute to Tony the Goose Siragusa. He doesn't know that though. After a minute and 54 seconds goes by in a pot that isn't that large, the opponent folds what I imagine is Queen Jack offsuit. I never see what the other card is. I'm almost positive it's not a diamond. This particular opponent hasn't called me in one spot today, and I think he's being genuine with his belief that I don't bluff, so I'll for sure try to use that against him if I can find the right opportunity.
And number 4, Rampage is playing in a World Series of Poker circuit event in Aruba. It's a $400 buy-in, and we've all been your opponent in this situation, Ethan. Gross. It's just gross.
But no need to celebrate, because the very next deal, I pick up pocket 9s and I raise it up to 3,500. The player to my left jams about 30,000. This is the same player that I just sucked out on, so maybe he's tilt shoving, but he's got 20 big blinds, and with pocket 9s, it is just going to be a clear call. We stick it in there, and he has pocket 10s. Oh my god, can we make another miracle happen again? We're off to a run out, and oh my god, flop give us nothing but runner straight. So disgusting to crack premiums when we are massive underdogs to win, about 20% chance to win each of those hands on back-to-back deals. Oh my god, that is so gross. Feeling really bad for the opponent, as this was just a complete luck box situation.
And the top 3 for January. Kicking things off at number 3 is Huggie, playing in the 1-2 game at the Lodge in Austin, Texas. And just keep an ear out for villain number 1. Oh, wait. You probably don't need to keep much of an ear out.
10 minutes later, we pick up ace-10 offsuit in the cutoff. The player on my right, who's pretty inebriated and has been raising way too many hands, opens for $11. I've been waiting for an opportunity to get it in against this opponent since he's been playing so loose, and I expect him to have a very wide range here. I triple his bet, making it $33. The loose 3-better from the last hand cold calls my re-raise from the big blind, and it folds back to the initial raiser. He thinks for a moment before raising it back up, making it 116 total. I'm going to speed this up a bit so you can see how long I think on it, but I'm actually torn on what to do. It's either shove or fold at this point. The question is, did I actually run into an actual hand here, or is he just getting out of line? Finally, I decided to go with it, pushing all in. The third player ends up going all in as well, and the guy on my right does the same. So we're in a three-way all in, and I'm starting to think I've got the worst of it.
Oh boy, I'm in trouble.
Want to do twice or what?
Whatever, I don't care. I'll do twice if you guys want.
No, I show my hand once.
Oh,
I show my hand once.
I'm down for twice too.
He said once. He said once.
I show my hand already. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
274 for the main. Said once?
Yeah, I show my hand already, so we have to do it once. Yeah.
Why?
In my opinion, that's the way that I do things. Yeah. That's the way they like. Yeah. And I made the decision. And it's once. One time.
You have a pen?
No, I do not.
No, do you?
Shit, we have the same
I do.
hand, huh?
Yeah, you have an ace too, huh?
Oh, you got a queen on queen action or what, baby?
What?
Oh,
Queen or jack?
Nope. Yeah.
What you got?
He's got the jack, right? No, the queen. You got the queen. You gotta have the queen. For the overcall, you got the
Here
queen.
you go. So here is what I meant to give you, a teddy ball game tip. Pre teddy ball game tip.
Oh, love me a free tip. Thank you, man.
Teddy ball game.
All right.
Teddy ball game.
Should I pull out my money to rebuy now, or? Oh!
Diamond.
Oh, shit. Oh, Jack might be good. Jack? Oh, all right. Oh, I got super lucky.
Nice hand, man.
I got super lucky. You played that sneaky.
Yeah.
It turns out both players had ace king, and we hit our 3-outer for the scoop. Not my finest hour, but I was prepared to rebuy, and it happened to work out for me this time.
Right? I'm more asking them.
I didn't show my hand. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Player check.
How are you roll that?
At number 2, January 2022, is Mariano playing at the Bike in California in a massive 25-50 cash game. And what just happened? This hand, folks. This is why we started Suited Aces Poker.
In the next one, I open Queen 9 on the button to 300 and get called by just the straddler. Flop comes 9-8-6, giving me top pair, but when he checks it over to me, I decide to check it back since this board is a little dicey. Turn is the queen of diamonds, and now he leads for $550. I can't really raise here after not betting on the flop, so I make the call, and we see the jack of clubs on the river. Obviously a terrible card, as any 10 now makes a straight, and to make things worse, my opponent now bets $1,250. Once again, a close spot. My hand could very easily not be the winner, but at the same time, he could be bluffing with a ton of stuff once I show weakness on the flop. So again, after some deliberation, I decide on a call. Interestingly enough, however, my opponent says good call and mucks his hand. I didn't know it at the time, but the graphics are showing he had a straight, so either he misread the board or the cards didn't pick up properly. I don't know. Either way, the pot was pushed in my direction, and I'm not complaining.
Sam was bluffing with the straight. Missed that he had a straight, apparently. And Mariano's going to win this one. Weird.
And at number 1, our favourite hand in all of January 2022. Drum roll, please. That's right. It's our boy Ethan, Rampage Poker, playing in a 1-3 game at the Mandalay Bay in Vegas. And I don't care how much poker you play, you do not see hands like this all the time.
And on one of the very last hands of the night, we decided to do a friendly $10 bomb pot. I'm in the hijack. We're going 8 ways to the flop. Everyone put $10 in the middle. And I pick up ace queen of diamonds. Going to a flop, one board of jack 5-5, 2 diamonds. There's an early position bet of $45. Action folds to me, and on this paired board, I have the nut flush draw. I think raising is a little bit of an overplay as we can be behind some full houses. Also, you just never know what these players can have because it is a bomb pot at that. So anyways, I decided on a call with the nut flush draw and 2 overs, get the big blind to come along as well. And we're off to a turn which is the King of Diamonds. Bink, get there with the nut flush. Like I said, it is a paired board, so got to be a little cautious. The early position player continues again for $125, and like I said, I just make the call. It's a bomb pot. Someone can easily have a full house. But I will say we also have a royal flush draw though. But what's cool is that the big blind comes along for 125, and we're still going 3 ways to the river, which comes the 10 of diamonds. No freaking way it happened. We have the royal flush, first time ever in my life, and action checks to me. What the hell do I do here? Never been in this spot before in my life with the mega nuts, with the best hand, the royal flush. I'm showing this hand regardless because I have to table it because that's what's going on in my mind right now. And I decided to go for a small sizing. I don't know, all right? Are there worse flushes out there? It's only a 9 high flush, and I guess we could have cooled a full house, but I'd expect full houses to bet on the river as well. Anyways, I sized to $120. Get the big blind player to fold, and onto this early position player, and no freaking way puts in a check raise of $400. This player has like $400 to $500 behind. What a dream spot, going runner for a royal flush and getting check raised on the river. This is just what dreams are made of, right? Anyways, got like $400, $500 behind. There's nothing to do but I guess take a little bit of time and not act too excited, then announce all in. All in? All in. She doesn't look happy about it, but ultimately does end up making the call.
Holy, I have a royal. Can I like take a picture and t-shirt?
Holy shit.
It's my first royal.
How do you get a royal?
Oh my god. What a sick hand. She ends up later telling us she had pocket kings. What an ultimate cooler. The chips were going in no matter what, and found the suck out 1 outer on the river. That is what you call being a luck box. And there we go, scooping a monster pile of chips. It's always nice to hit a royal, win a bunch of money as well, and especially in a bomb pot. Who would have saw it coming?
Just incredible. Well, there you have it, folks. 10 of the best for January 2022. All of the links to the weekly 10 of the best are in the description below. As always, so are the links to the original content. Thanks to all our poker vloggers for making January such a fascinating month. We appreciate you all. So that's it, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next week. Good luck at the felt.